I spent the last few days building these animatronic eyes. My name is Josh, and let me show you how I did it. Now the first step was to go to Will Cogley's Notion profile and grab the STL files and other information that he's added in there. I also grabbed this controller to control the eyes. It's pretty neat. And then I decided I wanted an electronics box in order to store all this in, so I went to printables.com and found this by Maker Milo. What I did is I dropped it in a CAD software and I cut off that lip on the side that he had so that it would just be a perfect box, and then I went ahead and printed that out. I printed every single piece for the eyes all in one print, so that was pretty neat to be able to just let that go for however many hours it took. I think it took about 12 hours, but I was just able to let that go, and it had some crazy stringing, but it was pretty easy to clean that up. The next roughly 4 minutes is the entire build process sped up to 18 times speed, and I cut out a couple little bits that were pretty boring, but for the most part it shows everything coming together and all the soldering and everything that went into it. We did use 6 SG servo motors. They were rather cheap on Amazon. There's also a PCA servo driver board in order to power those servos instead of trying to power them from the Arduino. Now, one thing I did do differently than Will Cogley is that he used an Arduino Uno, whereas I used an Arduino Nano. For me, this just made more sense. It's a whole lot smaller, so I was able to put it in that little electronics box that I showed you at the beginning, and it was able to do everything that the Nano could for this project. For all the wiring, I ended up putting it all on a perf board after I confirmed that it all worked on a breadboard. I soldered it all to it. I ended up using Ethernet cable for the controller, and that may not have been the best option, but it worked perfectly for what I needed in order to use that controller as a wired controller. I'll let you enjoy the rest of the process, and I will meet back with you when we are finished with the build. So this whole process was while I was building the controller and wiring it all up inside of it, and it's not lost on me that this was kind of unsafe how I had this soldering iron sitting here, and it was kind of moving its way around the desk, and I had that blowtorch right there. It's kind of super unsafe in hindsight. I didn't really notice it in the moment, but I will make sure to take extra caution in the future. The way that this controller works is that there's a joystick on the front that controls the way that the eyes are looking, and then there's a button on the top which controls blinking, and there's a potentiometer on the back which you can move in order to control how much it's squinting. So it's a pretty intuitive design. It makes it pretty easy to control the eyes and make it look wherever you want and make it look pretty lifelike. Now, like I did mention earlier, this is all Will Cogley's design, so I do have to give all the credit to him. I will include a link in the description to his YouTube channel. Go check him out. He makes some awesome animatronic stuff. I did change a little bit for what he had in there just to make it suit my needs a little bit better, but for the most part I did keep it pretty similar to how he had it. I really used this project as kind of a gateway to more robotics and more animatronic building. I didn't want to start out with something super involved that was just too much. I wanted to start out with something pretty simple like this, where I can put some things together and play with it and kind of see how it works. I do feel like I now have the knowledge to maybe go and make something more advanced, like maybe a hand or maybe a mouth, something like that. I also have a lot of other plans for different things like this. So this was a really good starting place, and being able to follow Will's guide made it really easy for me to be able to get into this and kind of figure out what I need to do. Well, thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Come back next week. I've got a robotic arm that I'm making with 6 degrees of freedom. I think you will really enjoy the video. You won't want to miss it. So until then, see you next time.